this is a little bit of a different kind of video than normal. I thought I'd give a little behind the peek of my fourth quarter planning. It might be interesting because I am primarily a mood reader. I don't always know when I'm going to read something that I'll want to like deep dive critique into, that I'll love and want to talk about, or that I'll just like hate so much I have to rant on, or like when I'm going to read enough things that come together to sort of like create a theme or an organic mood. Historically, I haven't been very good at vlogging, so I can't just like read as I go and make content that way. This year, I did do a little bit more vlogging than normal for me. Those videos are some of my lowest watched ones, so I guess I really am just not that good at it. 2023 has been like the most videos I've produced so far. I put out 41 long form videos over 35 weeks. Comes out to a little bit more than one video a week. However, I have not successfully uploaded weekly. What ended up happening, preparing for Shadow and Bone, filming Shadow and Bone, and then putting Shadow and Bone out, kind of like messed up my flow a little bit March, April, and May. That sounds like a really long time. I had to do a little bit of prep work in March, and I had to actually film myself watching, edit, and upload that stuff. Then I was like wore out, which sounds silly, but I do get fatigued, especially if I'm doing the same kind of video over and over again. And those Shadow and Bone ones are pretty much like me watching and reacting, so like all the editing is kind of the same, all that sort of stuff like starts to get boring. I do think though like that massive Shadow and Bone project was worth it because this year to date like almost all of my most popularly produced videos have to do with either Shadow and Bone or Lee Bardugo's Night Talos Hellbent style series. I have mixed feelings about such a popular author also being the one that gets the most views on my channel. I did do my best even when I was releasing each episode of Shadow and Bone to like put something else in between so that you could get a taste of other stuff that was not Lee Bardugo related while that was going. I did a very thorough review of Carissa Broadbent's works, middle traction on that. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses for the first time and did a review of the first 3 books, also not seeing any numbers on that. That sort of taught me that even chasing the popular books, which was not intentional, it just worked out that way, is not a surefire way to get views or attention or interest. And in some ways that's kind of a relief because we are rolling into October spooky season. Every year on this channel I've done something gothic related. Most of the time it's not super well received, but I love it. And this year I'm definitely diving into everything Interview with a Vampire related, which I'm super excited to share with you guys, but let's sort of start at the top. As of when I am filming, we are in the last week of August, and my 5 more Kick-Ass Women on Kindle Unlimited has just dropped. I don't know if I'll see numbers on this or not. The first video has done well over time, so I think it might be a slow growth if any. Also, I couldn't call it 5 more Kick-Ass Women on Kindle Unlimited. You can't put ass in titles anymore. So I think it's like Tough Women or Warrior Women or something like that. Today is Monday, and I realize I have so much I want to do in this back fourth quarter, both because it has the biggest potential for there to be eyes, and because I love October spooky season, and because there's like some movies that are coming out that I think are just like perfect for this channel. I am batch filming today so that I can stay ahead because I realized I need to be about a month ahead on videos, and that's going to be like an excruciating little catch-up moment for me right now. It should make my January roll in really smooth. And that brings me into September. So first week right here, I am tentatively putting my August reading wrap up. It's possible I'm going to swap this out for something else. I have filmed this and I'm in the process of editing it for sound. Also filmed this like Matt Shaw controversy that I'm going to do. You guys really responded to the pucking around controversy, so I thought this Matt Shaw one was similar enough that I had to add it in. You see that it's like a sticky note? That's because I had something else here originally. And then I've got my werewolf reading vlog, which is already filmed, but I need to edit. And I have this fourth quarter prep, which you see me filming right now. I'm a little bit torn about this up here because this fourth quarter prep was supposed to be a review of all 3 Insidious movies. I love Insidious 1 and 2. The new one, The Root Cellar, seems like a continuation of that. There's 2 in between that aren't worth talking about, even though they hold the Insidious name. I don't count them as part of the Insidious franchise. I thought it would be a great lead into October. Here's the deal, this Matt Shaw thing came up, which made me have to bump where this fourth quarter prep goes, and now I don't have a space. Even with this Matt Shaw thing, I'm wondering if there's attention on that right now, and I should bump my August reading wrap up to down here. This is my first year doing a reading wrap up, so they've been going really well as far as like views and comments have gone. And if I go too far into the month before I post it, I'm wondering if that will change things for the negative. I'm not super confident with whether or not this will be fourth quarter here or Insidious here. What will end up happening if I do my August and Matt Shaw is this fourth quarter review will pop up here, and that's where Insidious will go, Werewolf vlog here, because I want a little bit of separation between when I talk about those books, even though I was very brief in the August wrap-up because I know this exists. Then I have already filmed my invite to the goth party for October because it is going to be all things goth, and I've converted it into a short, so I think I'm going to do the short with the 9 points that make something gothic here, and then go right into I tried to read the first goth novel ever, so you don't have to. I've got this scripted, and actually I'm probably going to film this today or tomorrow. And part of the reason I'm working so hard to be ahead of this is because this is what my October looks like. Each one of these tabs is a video, and this is way more videos than I usually post with the commitment for one a week. But it's October spooky season, and it's gothic stuff, and I have what I need to make it happen if I have the time, knock on wood. And one of the complicating factors is that I will be on vacation starting here and going through here. So I'm going to need to have all the videos ready for that week and the week after before I go on vacation, or it's just not going to happen for me. But right now I've got like my September reading wrap up here. I have a couple books I have to read in September. I want to read Manhunt and probably do a vlog on that, even though I don't know when in the schedule the vlog will drop. And I also want to read Certain Dark Things because I've been on like a vampire reading kick, #1, but #2, I've had that book for almost a year now, and I need to either read it or return it. Then I'm dropping like the actual longer form goth invite. Fingers crossed I finish reading and scripting these. I am reading Interview with a Vampire right now. I just finished part 1 and probably like a fourth of the way into part 2. Scripting wise, I'm mostly done scripting part 1. And that's part of why I have broken up this interview series into like a part 1 and part 2 and possibly a part 3. Because I'm tackling all the themes, all the questions, all these little notes because I'd like to move from Interview with a Vampire into the Vampire Lestat next. Those 2 narrators have different perspectives on some of the events happening in this book, so those little details matter. I know that part 1, part 2, part 3 will be longer, and I'll probably stitch them together into one long video if anyone ever wants to sit and listen to the whole thing all at once. Break it into 3 separate videos as well, just so that it's more consumable for like your average YouTube watch. I also tentatively have a review of Dracula specifically from the Gothic perspective coming in. I have started drafting this one. This one's almost done with its draft. Once I finish reading Interview with a Vampire, I have to watch the movie Interview with a Vampire, and I'm going to do a comparison and contrast whether or not I like that movie, whether or not I think it's a good adaptation, all that fun kind of stuff. From there I'm going to go into watching the new Interview with a Vampire show and talking about that in comparison with the books. There's a lot of changes in that. It's an interesting way to adapt material, and I really want to talk about it. Right now I think I have 3 slots for it, so it'll be like more than 1 episode together, but I think like 2 or 3 episodes at a time is the right amount of episodes to talk about. Then the FNAF movie releases here. FNAF is short for Five Nights at Freddy's. So I want to do something FNAF. I think what I'm going to end up doing is talking about the different elements of horror that make that story scary and compelling, and giving a couple recommendations for like some no sleep, spooky style stories that are like that or that embody that emotional feel if you're looking for more of that spookiness, because it feels like there's always a void of content for that specific kind of horror. Donegan releases the next week. Oh my goodness. Hey, hi, hello. It is future filming Jess after starting to edit Jess. When I originally filmed this sneak peek, Dune was still scheduled to release on December 3rd, but since then it has been pushed back to spring of 2024 because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, which first of all, Dune is like the most ill-fated of all movies, considering part 1 was originally pushed back thanks to COVID-19, and now here we are with the SAG-AFTRA strike pushing it back again. As far as October planning writing goes, this just gives me another slot to work in Interview with the Vampire. I've gotten a little bit further in the books, and there's actually 4 parts, not 3 like I originally planned, so I did need another video slot anyways. And also I felt like this gave me a chance to talk about the SAG-AFTRA strike. We are not currently being called to boycott any movies or to withhold any reviews, and as such I am going forward with different kinds of media and critiquing, reviewing, and doing deep dives like normal. I do at this point in time consider myself a reviewer, a critic, a video essayist here on the platform, and not so much an influencer. I'm not receiving any kind of money or funding or even like anyone suggesting that I promote one thing over another or I cover one thing over another. But because I'm not doing sponsorships and I'm not going to do a react style content like I did with Shadow and Bone, I do think it falls safely within the SAG-AFTRA guidelines for how to review things or continue to watch things during the strike. That said, I support all striking parties and I hope that you do too. If you're a social influencer, make sure you're reading those guidelines and following all of their asks. Thanks, and moving back to the video. Goodbye! And then we go into our October reading wrap up. I don't have anything I have to read in October unless there's stuff from September that carries over. But I do have that whole week I'm on vacation, so I probably will be doing a lot of reading. Then down here on the 17th, the Hunger Games releases. And I actually have 2 different themed Hunger Games style things, one week leading in and one right after that I want to do. So this one, I want to compare the Hunger Games to The Darkest of Minds and both their books and their movie equivalents and why like one franchise did so well and the other franchise didn't. And then I'm tentatively planning after that to do like Hunger Games themed like Thanksgivings where I'm like, Effie drink it, and I'm announcing different dishes from different districts and how they're prepped and what they're like and what their place would be in the meal. I just think it would be kind of fun. And it would be like a little bit of a crossover between like cooking and writing and reading. It could just be like a good time, and thematically it makes sense because that's the week of Thanksgiving. It is a really ambitious video because I would have to be filming it all up here in the front half, probably be doing multiple days of baking, prepping, costuming. It would be by far the most elaborate video I've put up on the channel. So that's sort of like a stretch goal right now. I've got a couple other simpler ones that could go there instead. And then the last week of November is going to be like everything I know about Kindle Unlimited, and this is meant to be more of like book lovers, Christmas, buying guide kind of thing. One gift you might give is Kindle Unlimited, and why they might like or dislike that, and what kind of reader this would appeal to most, along with like the ethics of using Kindle Unlimited for reading. And then lastly, we're into December. We're going to do our November reading wrap up. I want to do like a special video right here that's just like everything you need to know about the Plated Prisoner series before jumping into Gold. I did something sort of similar before Gleam, but I gave like a lot of critical analysis and thoughts about the series so far. This one I want to be significantly shorter. I want it to be just like the straight hard facts. Quite a bit of like the first book is not going to make it into this sort of wrap up because a lot of things that happen in the first book don't matter anymore since one of the characters has died at that point in time. Of course, I'm going to read Gold, so I'm going to have a review for Gold up the following week. And then we're going to go into like some YouTube end of the year staples like worst book of the year, best book of the year, New Year's resolutions for 2024, that kind of stuff. The nice thing about December is if you do the worst book of the year, best book of the year, New Year's resolution kind of stuff that's pretty standard in most genres, I feel like your December's pretty much written itself out, and you have a pretty good idea going into December, I feel like, what your worst book is and best book is. So there's not a lot of reinventing the wheel. You just have to take a couple notes and sit down and film. And besides everything you see on the calendar, some stretch goals I have going on is like after I watch Five Nights at Freddy's, I might want to do a quick spoiler-free 5-minute review. Same thing with Dune 2 and possibly the Hunger Games video as well. If they're really good or have interesting stories or whatever, I might want to do like a critical deep dive analysis. With Dune specifically, I might want to end up comparing those 2 movies to the book now that all of it is out and released. It really depends on how busy I am with my work schedule at that point in time, when I can see that movie, and whether or not I can make even kind of sort of decent, relevant turnaround on those movies. So that's my very ambitious fourth quarter plans. As you can see from the calendar, it is a lot of work for me for stuff that I don't even know if you guys are that interested in. So if you could do me a favor, let me know if any of those kinds of videos really interest you in those comments down below. Are there some that I for sure have to get to, some I could skip, some I could do like an easier one instead? I am really excited and passionate about my plans and content, and even though I feel like it's going to be a stretch and a challenge for me to get it done, I feel like it'll be really fulfilling and fun too. And I hope you guys really enjoy it and have great plans for Halloween, great plans for Christmas. You know, just have a great end to your 2023. And as always, keep reading. Bye!